So what we're seeing is the Republicans trying to decide whether they should rally around the frontrunner right now, Donald Trump, or whether they should stick to their guns. Mitt Romney, for one, the former Republican nominee for president, blasted Donald Trump in a speech today. Sean Spicer is the chief strategist and communications director for the RNC. He's with us now from Detroit. Sean, I'm hearing that a lot of Republican senators and party influencers are trying to grapple with the tough choices they're facing about Donald Trump. Is this fracturing the party?
I think this is what a primary process is all about, and you're seeing it on the other side of the aisle as well, with people trying to grapple between Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton. So, we've got four folks that will take the stage tonight. I think there's support for each of them. I think there's people who are out there truly supporting one candidate and a lot of times against another. That's part of our democracy. I think people are expressing their First Amendment rights at this point. We're at a critical phase, Contessa. We've now gone through about just under a fourth of the delegates have been selected. We've got another 1,800 or so to go. And I think people are now really kind of getting combative and making sure that their candidate is put their best foot forward.
You know, it's interesting because after Super Tuesday, where Donald Trump came out a big winner, he's won 10 states so far. The national polling shows him in the lead. Real Clear Politics average has him at 35.6% of support. And yet in exit polling from 5 different states on Super Tuesday, voters said, those who had not supported Trump said they could not imagine him as the nominee. They would be disappointed if he were the nominee. 74% said that. What happens if he maintains the kind of trajectory he is now? How do you move forward to a general election when, if you take this little snapshot as an indication, there will be so many Republican voters who can't fathom him as their party's nominee?
Well, a couple things. Number one, whoever gets to 1,237 delegates will be the nominee. Right now, like I said, we've had about 625 total delegates selected out of a total pot of about 2,500. So we've got a ways to go, number one. Number two, our party will be unified as it always has. We'll come together. People will understand what's at stake and unify coming out of Cleveland in July and propel us to victory in November. Number three, if you look at Republican turnout versus Democratic turnout, of the 19 states that have voted, we've had record turnout in 18 of them. Conversely, the Democrats have been down in every single one. There's a massive enthusiasm and intensity gap between the two parties right now that clearly favors the Republican Party. And number four, look at the alternative. Every Republican understands that the alternative is either Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders. You have a 74-year-old socialist as one choice who will take this country in a vastly different trajectory than our country was founded on. Or two is someone who is under investigation from the FBI and who isn't supported or viewed as trustworthy by a majority of Democrats, never mind Republicans and
But Sean, we've already
independents.
heard Republican leaders saying that if Donald Trump is the nominee, they might be forced to support Hillary Clinton. And we've heard it from Republican voters.
Right, and we're in the midst of a primary, and it's tough, and people are out there throwing elbows, and they're out there supporting the candidates that they want to support and talking down the candidates that they don't support. That's called politics. That's the heat of a primary season. I think you're seeing a lot of elbows being thrown on the Democratic side, too. Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton went at it epically in 2008, said some pretty nasty things about each other, got together in July of that year. Barack Obama won a resounding win, and then he chose her for his cabinet. I mean, stranger things have happened. I feel very confident that our party will unify and will win in November.
But right now it doesn't look that way. And when you have the former nominee, Mitt Romney, giving a speech that was covered live where he's calling Donald Trump a phony and calling him out for lying and calling him out for his lack of foreign policy experience, does that do damage itself to the Republican Party? And how's the RNC go forward from there?
Well, look, I think at the end of the day, calling people names and tweeting out things back and forth, I'm not a huge fan of it. I understand it's part of the process. But look, that's what happens in our political system at crucial points in the election process. It happens in the general election, it happens in the primary system, and it happens on both sides. And frankly, it's happened since the beginning of history. If you remember, back in the 1800s, people used to actually buy papers just to editorialize about their opponents in a nasty way. So I think we can get over this and we'll win. We'll unify as a party. I'm fully confident that that will be the case when we come out of Cleveland this summer.
When you're looking at the potential for a third-party candidate, Bloomberg has already expressed his interest, and now political insiders are looking at the Republican side and wondering whether someone like Mitt Romney would get in the race just to destroy Donald Trump's chances at the White House. Is that something, an eventuality that the RNC at all is trying to wrap its head around?
Well, I think on the Bloomberg front, hey, we would encourage Michael Bloomberg to jump in the race.
I'm sure you would.
If Bloomberg runs in, that's two Democrats running. We like our chances with that. I think he puts a lot of states into play that might not otherwise be competitive. So I encourage Michael Bloomberg to run. And I think, and again, I will go back to my previous comments, which, look, this is tough. This is part of the primary system. But when we walk in and out of Cleveland, I think the party's going to realize what's at stake. And one thing that every single one of those Republicans understands is that the trajectory that Hillary Clinton or Bernie Sanders would take this country in is vastly different than any of the trajectory that the four candidates that will take the stage tonight would do it. And that while we may have disagreements in our party, that's why we're a better party than the Democrats. We can come together and understand that while we might have some disagreements, that we offer a better vision, a better set of solutions than the other side.
Do you think it's time for the race to narrow once again? Do you feel like it's time for there to be some unity around a Donald Trump alternative?
Well, what I think is that there's a lot of states and a lot of people that have to vote, and they should have their voice heard. I think frankly what's fueling a lot of the concern right now on both sides of the aisle is that people have been fed up with anyone in Washington trying to tell them that what they should do or think. I think we have a system in place. We've had 15 states out of 56 with the territories vote, and I think people should have an opportunity to have their voice and vote heard, and then we'll see what happens at the end of this. But to start to say after 15 or 19 states rather that this is where the race stands, there's a lot of people that have the opportunity to still vote. They should have their voice heard, and whomever accumulates the 1,237 delegates necessary to win the nomination should be the nominee. But it should be up to voters, not to me, not to anyone in Washington.
Sean, I don't know whose idea it was to put you outside on the balcony in Michigan at the very beginning of March, but you're a brave man and you have true endurance, and I appreciate your patience for the interview.
And the only thing that's keeping me going, Contessa, is knowing that next week's debate is in Miami, and I keep looking at the app saying, high of 84, low of 67.
I'm with you.
I agree with you. I think we did the walkthrough in like September. I don't think anyone had a clue.
Oh, yeah, it looks beautiful in September. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate it.
It does. The snow's coming down. Thank you.